Amit said, we have an action-packed day. We're going to begin with a scene setting, if I can put it that way, presentation from Chetan Parekh, who is managing partner of Cedar International Management Consulting and should therefore have all the right information.
Thank you, Robin. Morning, everyone. Great to see the room full. So my name is Chetan Parekh. I'm the managing partner for FinTech Practice. What we do is we help banks with their strategies on what's next and what do they need to do on their banking systems. We'll quickly take you through where we see the technology going. So we'll talk about next generation core and digital and how we see it in UK and Europe perspective. So let's understand first of all next gen core term. What does it mean? It's quite a famous term. Everybody wants to be in next generation and current generation is not being perceived important. But let's understand this generation, which is very important. So it all started way back in 80s when first set of banking systems came, and that's what we call the first time automation, where banks started automating either retail or corporate or one of the functions. Still part of their book remained outside. Then came the second generation where the whole data started moving in, system of record came together to have all accounting in one place, automation in one place, which continued till 2010. First set of channels came around, which started working with the banking system. We started using internet banking. And then at 3.0, for the first time within systems, APIs started coming together where banking platforms started having API integrations with trade platforms, silos, and multiple silos started coming together as part of 3.0. What's happened over the last decade is emergence of the whole open banking, APIs, and that became materially important on 4.0 when last decade multiple banking systems changed their API layers, became RESTful APIs, microservices started becoming important, and people started what's called as componentization of banking system. So we brought it all together, digitized it, and now we have started breaking it so that individually things can scale. Especially after PSD2, when UK had many small but customer-focused banking institutions and financial institutions. They only specialize on one or two products. So that's what we call going towards now the next 5.0, which is customer obsession, where you are obsessed with delivering great quality of products, but only for the set of customers. And you're specializing in it. And you're looking at end-to-end experience. So core banking is no more seen as a back office platform. The new generation banks are seeing it as front to back customer obsessed platforms to deliver unique experiences. So that's where the banking system is going. Now when you look at expectation, what the industry expectation is, first and the foremost is highly secured zero trust situation where earlier at least you knew who is accessing information, what's the level of security. Now you suddenly have a Gen AI engine going to the database and accessing customer information. So it's very, very important to always verify and ensure the information is accessed in a most secured way. And that's the first expectation from most of the banks. Second, the set of APIs banks have built. Of course, it's quite significant in Nordics. It's quite significant in UK and Europe as well. How to leverage and monetize these APIs from a banking platform perspective. To what extent can you link use cases to these banking APIs? Third, the whole real-time processing. No more it will do that we'll look at T-1 data. or data warehouse and data lakes can give next day information. No. Can I have real-time Kafka or any kind of mechanism to inject the data real time from core banking to channels to data warehouses to notification engines? So that's a real-time processing expectation. Fourth, the cloud native. Again, cloud emerged. Initial use case and business cases were it's expensive compared to physical infrastructure. So it took a pickup, but then growth came down over the last couple of years. In late 20s, it started growing at 50 and 60s 3 years back. So look at the cloud and how can you become natively cloud and across the platforms. Because the next generation of cloud players which are now coming in are significantly more cost effective. So making it cloud native. And last but not the least, most organizations are now looking at microservice based deployments rather than traditional deployments. So can I look at only payments deployment? Can I look at only a lending product deployment and deliver those services from front to back perspective? So those are the 5 expectations when bank says new gen core, what they expect from a next gen core. Now again, it's very interesting. On the right hand side, what you see is 5 years back, just 5 years back, how much share. It was just 4% of universal banking deals which was happening with the new gen core. Everybody thought they'll stick at 8-10%. If there's 80 deals happening in UK, only 7 or 8 will be new gen core. That's where it was. What we've seen last year is new gen core deals are significantly more. It has gone to 40% range. And these are small companies. People like Thought Machine, Mambu have suddenly grown to 150 to 300 banks. Yeah? As all of you know, market leaders like Temenos are near 1,000 banks. So you really need to start looking at these things in a very, very different perspective. Banks, especially new generation banks, even traditional banks are adopting new gen cores for specific offering, for specific segments of customers. And it is getting into a new architecture. Again, when you look at digital and how digital has been perceived, globally, Asia is supposed to be the biggest community where digital was supposed to be the primary way to deliver because it was too expensive to build branches and customer service centers. So if you see, Europe and EU has close to 400 million penetration, highest 48%, and UK stands significant market share in digital banks, especially when you look at the global markets. So 50 neobanks only in such a small space, and all using the next generation PSD2 and open banking technologies to woo customers. When you again look at last 5 years, and if you see 60 banking deals on the left, 77% are between large and small banks. Digital banks have only 18% of deals. And when you look at the numbers, like some of the key banks like Bevin, which picked up Sopra, or Elika Bank, which is Saskada, I think they'll speak later in the day today, Stream Bank with Mutual Vision. So the kind of deals and product providers we're seeing is very, very different from an erstwhile blueprints which you used to see. Again, branches are on a major decline, which is seen over the last decade, and huge amount of branch closures. So it's going very much API way, and how do you leverage the digital? Now there's some technologies which is coming up and can become very, very useful for both next gen core and next gen digital agenda. Is of course AI. Now a lot has been said about AI. Not many AI use cases are in production. So people must understand that time has come where people will start looking for real value from a Gen AI model. So what can you do to a Gen AI model? How can you take it forward? So that's the first key technology which is going to influence both core and digital. Second, the newer organizations are asset light. So if it can be a platform as a service or a banking as a service, then that makes a huge, huge difference from a CapEx and an OpEx from business case perspective. Last but not the least, open banking will move towards open finance with PSD 3 coming in. So open finance will become a way forward, and that will increase the remit in a very, very big way. So if you see AI, again, key message is banks and partners and suppliers must create a center of excellence for AI and start looking at real life use cases which you can convert into AI-based deployments rather than manual deployments. So a lot of people say, will it reduce jobs? Yes, it will. But the kind of work people will do will be of a better quality or decision type rather than a mundane jobs. So it's going to reduce mundane jobs. Again, shift is mainly from a cost saving perspective, but doing much more intelligently, right? So advancement in Gen AI is going to be a big play. Second, material growth, you can see on the left, right again, from 1.5 billion over 2023, it's going to go into a 7.5 billion kind of a market for BaaS. So if you have a solution, either in an API space or full end-to-end banking as a service platform, that's the way Europe is going to go, where a lot of banking as a service deployments. Now it could be in a managed service model, it could be on a SaaS model, models can keep changing. Yeah, but that's the direction we are seeing. Again, main two drivers, one of course clearly is regulatory driver, second is cost of living. So both of this is driving towards some of the next generation players when it comes to BaaS. And open banking, which you've seen the growth over the last 5 years, again 9 million payments have become 54 million payments. So you see the kind of growth you've seen as part of Q1 this year, and 1.5 billion calls in last 1 month, which UK closed, right? So that's a kind of an API call. And again, if you can see open finance, that's shifting much more. Insurance, mortgages and other services will start becoming part of the ecosystem. Of course, both EU and UK have organizations running around data privacy, looking at putting infrastructure in place, policy in place, and getting implemented with it. So what banks should do is 6 key things. First and foremost, don't over depend on suppliers. Each supplier will give you a sense of Gen AI and say my LLM model is the best. You need to have your own investment in AI. Have an AI strategy in place, have an AI infrastructure in place, and be clear what are the use cases this year you're implementing. Second, primary driver is customer experience. So have your tailored solution for your segments of customer, and which segments, which solutions. Third, the digital platform which you have already invested in or planning to invest, again focus on where it's going to create value in cost optimizations, better service levels. Implement Agile in its true sense to deliver month on month, at least 10 releases in a year rather than from a 12 months perspective. Data privacy, GDPR being applicable in UK, it's very, very important that you can carefully look at what kind of data and security, how you're going to leverage your banking platforms and digital. And last but not the least, all the APIs which you're investing in. What's the plan? What do you monetize? Which ones you let go and start building a new ones? So start thinking how APIs are going to get broken down, how microservice use cases are going to help you. So as a bank, this is the future from the way forward. Thank you so much. I'll hand it over back to Robin.
Thank you very much, Chetan.